Jokowi praises increase in state revenue until mid-November 2021. Government to prohibit bulk cooking oil starting from January 2022. Good evening, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you information from business, economic, and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 information. And please stay safe by taking some simple precautions such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. And with me, Fajar Wayong, this is Market Headlines. Let's open up market headline. Bank Indonesia is upbeat about Indonesia's economic recovery in 2022, with growth lying in the range of 4.7 to 5.5%. Bank Indonesia Governor Periwarjo is upbeat about Indonesia's economic recovery in 2022, with growth lying in the range of 4.7 to 5.5%.
Akan pulih pada tahun 2022. Insya Allah, pertumbuhan akan lebih tinggi, mencapai 4,7 sampai 5,5% pada 2022 dari 3,4 sampai 4% pada 2021. Selain ekspor, konsumsi dan investasi juga meningkat. Pasokan yang memadai, respon kebijakan Bank Indonesia, koordinasi TPI pusat dan daerah. Stabilitas nilai tukar rupiah akan tetap dijaga sesuai komitmen kuat dari Bank Indonesia di tengah normalisasi moneter The Fed.
He added that economy recovery would be spurred by the increase in exports, consumption and investment with the support of the COVID-19 vaccination drive and stimulus policies. On the other hand, the central bank has forecast a lower inflation as compared to 2021 that would help the country to maintain its inflation rate at 2 to 4% in 2022. According to Warjo, Bank Indonesia remains committed to maintaining stability of the rupiah amid the U.S. Federal Reserve's monetary policy normalization. During the period from January to September 17, the rupiah had weakened 1.35% point to point as compared to that in 2020. IDX Channel reports. President Joko Widodo lauded the increase in state revenue in mid-November 2021 that is in line with the improvement in several domestic economic indicators. President Joko Widodo lauded the increase in state revenue in mid-November 2021 that is in line with the improvement in several domestic economic indicators such as consumer confidence, retail sales, and manufacturing industry production.
Mendapatkan laporan dari Bu Menteri Keuangan, capaian dari pajak sangat baik, biaya dan cukai juga sangat baik, BNPB juga sudah lebih dari 100%, ini baik semuanya. Tumbuh 18,2 year on year, angka yang sangat besar sekali. Tapi sekali lagi, ketidakpastian itu selalu mengintip hati-hati. Kita tetap optimis, tapi tetap harus hati-hati.
Despite a rise in state revenues and having surpassed the achievement during the corresponding period in 2020, Jokowi reminded all parties to exercise caution on account of the uncertainty due to the dynamics of the COVID-19 pandemic that is still far from over. In addition to state revenues, Jokowi drew attention to several indicators in the domestic economy that also continue to improve and even outdid the achievements before the COVID-19 pandemic. IDX Channel reports. Meantime, Coordinating Maritime Affairs and Investment Minister Luhut Binsar Panjaitan spoke of the future plan of Indonesia and the UK to build an electric vehicle or EV battery supply chain.
Coordinating Maritime Affairs and Investment Minister Luhut Binsar Panjaitan spoke of the future plan of Indonesia and UK to build an electric vehicle battery supply chain. Through a joint investment cooperation, both nations will build production facilities in both Indonesia and the UK. However, Panjaitan did not divulge detail on the value of the investment plan, including the timing of its realization. The joint investment cooperation is expected to meet the demand for cathode and battery cells for EV and the UK and Europe regions. Meanwhile, this step is also part of efforts to achieve Indonesia's investment realizations, which continues to increase from year to year as expressed by the Minister of Investment, Bahlil Lahadalia.
Karena tahun ini kita targetkan 900 triliun. Di dalam RPJM Bappenas, Pak, itu sebenarnya 865 triliun, Pak. Tapi Bapak perintahkan kepada kami 900 triliun. Dan tahun depan itu 1.200 triliun.
Therefore, Bahlil invites all parties, including local governments, to jointly strive to pursue these investment achievements. IDX Channel reports.
And we're moving on to global update. Sweden's first ever female prime minister has resigned just hours after she was appointed. Meanwhile, Samsung has chosen a site close to the city of Taylor in Texas for its new $17 billion computer chip plant. And more stories on today's International Minute.
Sweden's first ever female prime minister has resigned just hours after she was appointed. Magdalena Andersson was announced as a leader on Wednesday but resigned after her coalition partner quit the government and her budget failed to pass. Instead, Parliament voted for a budget drawn up by the opposition, which includes the anti-immigrant far right. Her coalition partner, the Greens Party, said it could not accept a budget drafted for the first time with the far right. Olaf Scholz will head a three-party coalition with board plans for Germany's transition to a green economy under a deal to end 16 years of government led by Angela Merkel. Almost 2 months after his Social Democrat Party won federal election, he will go into power with the Greens and business-friendly Free Democrats. Climate protection forms a big part of the coalition deal. New Zealand has unveiled its plans to reopen borders and will allow foreigners to enter next year. Fully vaccinated visitors can enter from April 30 and will have to self-isolate for 7 days upon arrival. More New Zealanders will be allowed to travel home from early next year as well under similar rules. The move is three curbs that have locked out many citizens and tourists since borders were slammed shut at the start of the pandemic. Samsung has chosen a site close to the city of Taylor in Texas for its new $17 billion computer chip plant amid a global shortage of semiconductors. It is the South Korean electronics giant biggest ever U.S. investment. The plant is expected to create 2,000 technology industry jobs with construction starting early next year. IDX Channel reports.
And market headlines will be back. Stay tuned with us.
Kini aplikasi mClears hadir di handphone Anda untuk memudahkan transaksi Anda. Informasi aktivitas clearing dan penjaminan tidak lagi hanya dapat diakses melalui komputer di kantor Anda, melainkan dapat diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja dalam genggaman Anda. Fitur-fitur mClears. Equity clearing dan settlement adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi kewajiban settlement anggota clearing hingga nilai alternate case settlement serta informasi gagal bayar. Risk management adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, kolateral, MKBD, portofolio harian, risk charge anggota clearing dan kombinasi, serta nilai minimum cash collateral. Derivatif adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, margin call, dan informasi clearing derivatif. Terkait pinjam-meminjam efek, terdapat fitur mengenai borrowing information dan lendable pool information, serta lending revenue dan borrowing fee. Serta menu lain yang menampilkan informasi mengenai haircut, risk charge saham, dan nilai harga penyelesaian harian dan harga penyelesaian final. Selain itu, Anda juga dapat mengakses fitur pengumuman, peraturan, dan informasi layanan KPEI pada aplikasi mClears. Download aplikasi mClears di App Store atau Google Play Store. Lakukan registrasi user Anda dengan menggunakan alamat email berdomain resmi yang sesuai dengan anggota clearing Anda. Setelah registrasi, Anda akan diberikan kode OTP di email Anda untuk verifikasi, dan aplikasi mClears Anda siap untuk digunakan. Anda dapat mengakses seluruh menu pada aplikasi mClears dengan melakukan aktivasi berlangganan premium yang dapat dilakukan dengan memilih menu Get Premium. Download aplikasinya sekarang, lakukan registrasi, dan dapatkan kemudahan dalam genggaman tangan Anda. Kemudahan informasi KPEI dalam genggaman Anda.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. West Java occupies the top position in the largest national e-commerce transaction. In the third quarter of 2021, the West Java's total transactions reached 15.02 trillion rupiah.
The value of e-commerce transactions for residents of West Java in the middle of the third quarter of 2021 grew 59.03% compared to 2020. Of the 10 provinces with the largest transactions market share in Indonesia, both buying and selling through the marketplace, West Java occupies the top position. Head of Bank of Indonesia West Java representative Herawanto said West Java was in first position with the largest national e-commerce transaction. Total transactions in the third quarter of 2021 reached 15.02 trillion rupiah. He explained that the largest contributions to purchase transactions was in the fashion category of 2.52 trillion rupiah, mobile phones and accessories 2.12 trillion rupiah, and personal care and cosmetic 1.9 trillion rupiah. This shows West Java has a very good opportunity in digitizations. Of course, it must be continued to ensure the business sector at various levels, including MSMEs, to transform the business end-to-end. For additional information, the number of MSMEs in West Java reached 85% of the total business units, or around 4.15 million units. IDX Channel reports.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources has prepared a roadmap for the transition of new renewable energy towards net zero emission in 2060. In the roadmap, it is announced that the first nuclear-powered power plant will start commercial operations in 2049. This was revealed from the slides presented by the Director General of Electricity at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Rida Mulyana, at the grand launching of the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry's Logistics and Supply Chain Agency. Although it is planned for 2049, Rida stated that the realization could be sooner or later depending on the dynamics in the field, such as technological developments and availability and financing. Rida does not deny that it takes hard work to achieve the energy transition in 2060. The reason is currently 90% of energy generation sources in Indonesia come from fossil energy and 60% of them come from coal energy. However, he is optimistic that the target can be achieved.
keniscayaan, tetapi di sisi lain juga kita harus siap dengan segala konsekuensinya, terutama dalam hal penyediaan pendanaan. Tidak ada lagi pilihan, artinya bukan opsi lagi bahwa transisi energi wajib dilakukan dan kita sudah memulainya. Isunya adalah bisakah ini dipercepat atau tidak.
To anticipate a price spike in cooking oil commodities, the government through Ministry of Trade prohibits the circulation of bulk cooking oil to the market as of January 1st, 2022. The government prohibits the circulation of bulk cooking oil to the market as of January 1st, 2022. The Director General of Domestic Trade at the Ministry of Trade, Oke Nurwan, said this was done to anticipate a price spike in cooking oil commodities.
Minyak curah ini sangat tergantung dari CPO. Begitu CPO naik, minyak curah langsung naik. Berbeda dengan kemasan. Kalau kemasan, karena sifatnya bisa disimpan dalam jangka panjang, bisa diproduksi terlebih dahulu, sehingga harganya relatif terkendali. Kalau ini pemerintah juga sudah mengantisipasi dengan mewajibkan peredaran minyak goreng kemasan. Tidak diizinkan lagi mulai 1 Januari 2022.
As for packaged cooking oil, according to the Ministry of Trade, because it can be stored for the long term, the price is relatively under control. Indeed, the Ministry of Trade admits that the current demand for bulk cooking oil is very high. The Ministry of Trade noted the need for bulk cooking oil of 5 million liters a year, while the number of production reached 9.5 million. According to the Ministry of Trade, there are only 2 countries that are still circulating bulk cooking oil, namely Bangladesh and Indonesia. IDX Channel reports. Meanwhile, the head of the Trade Assessment and Development Agency at the Ministry of Trade has said that exports and imports could provide relatively strong support for economic growth in 2022. The Indonesian government has set an economic growth target of 5% to 5.5% for 2022, supported by 5 to 5.3% growth in household consumption, 5.8 to 7.9% growth in exports, and 6.8 up to 6% growth in imports. In addition, government in consumption is projected to grow by 2.8 to 4.5%, while investment is forecast to grow 5.6 to 7%. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Trade is designing an outlook for strategic trade indicators for 2022, including the goods trade balance, which is expected to reach $19.1 billion to $19.6 billion. Kasan said that according to him, the economic situation in 2022 will be influenced by various factors, including the country's successful handling of COVID-19, recovery of public consumption, implementation of structural reforms, and prospects for global economic growth.
Ekspor dan impor menjadi penopang yang cukup tinggi dalam pertumbuhan ekonomi di tahun depan. Itu faktor harga komoditi ini juga menjadi salah satu faktor yang menyebabkan capaian di kinerja perdagangan luar negeri. Variabel yang mempengaruhi pertumbuhan ekonomi dan juga perdagangan global tentu bergerak dan tidak bisa dipastikan sesuai dengan yang kita harapkan.
And market headlines will be back with information from Indonesian capital market. Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif secara tegas akan memperketat bagi para wisatawan asing yang akan liburan ke Bali.
Ya, nantinya wisatawan asing harus melakukan swab PCR sebelum keberangkatan.
Para wisatawan-wisatawan yang sehat, para wisatawan yang sudah tervaksin.
Selama pandemi, banyak armada taksi dari Taksi di Thailand menganggur.
Berencana akan melepaskan saham holding BUMN Pertambangan Main ID di Bursa Efek Indonesia.
awal mula Kak Sabrina tuh bisa menjadi analis pasar modal tuh apa sih yang memotivasi hingga tertarik dengan dunia investasi?
Waktu itu aku pengen tahu kira-kira saham itu apa sih sebenarnya gitu kan. Kenapa banyak orang kaya itu terlahir dari dunia capital market. Itulah aku tuh kayak kesannya kayak aku kayak nemuin passion aku gitu karena dunia investasi itu kan lebih ke dynamic, jadi tiap menuntut mereka tuh harus tetap belajar dan belajar.
Ngelihat dari sektor UMKM nampaknya sudah mulai terasa ya.
Ya, kalau kita lihat dari indikator kredit ya untuk UMKM, ini memang sudah menunjukkan bahwa ekonomi UMKM mulai bergeliat.
Sebanyak 7 bank telah menyetujui restrukturisasi kredit PT Waskita Karya Persero Tbk dengan outstanding sebesar 21,9 triliun rupiah.
Pemirsa, Bursa Efek Indonesia mencatat saat ini terdapat 12 emiten yang berencana melakukan buyback saham.
Pertimbangan dengan 4 rekomendasi saham ini, Pak Rofandi, mungkin untuk Akra terlebih dahulu, Pak.
2 hari ini mungkin dia akan berkonsolidasi dan akan terjadi rebound.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement, earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,694.96, and then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,719.83, and then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level 6,699.34. And in short, Jakarta Composite Index or JCI went up 0.24%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement of Jakarta Composite Index. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got transportation and logistics sector as the leader of strengthening trend that went up 3.56%. Infrastructure went up 1.09%. Meanwhile, from the weakening sector, we got property as the leader of weakening, went down 1.21%, and technology sector went down 1.09%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. Telkom went up 5.26% to the level of 4,000 rupiah per share. Bank Rakyat Indonesia or BBRI went up 0.24% to the level of 4,220 rupiah per share. Perusahaan Gas Negara or PGAS went up 1.24% to the level of 1,630 rupiah per share. And Neocommerce or BBYB went up 5.21% to the level of 2,220 rupiah per share. From top gainers, we're going to the top losers for today's trading. We got Bukalapak went down 6.77% to the level of 620 rupiah per share. Bank Central Asia atau or BBCA went down 0.67% to the level of 7,425 rupiah per share. Tebik went down 0.98% to the level of 30,030 rupiah per share, and CPRO went down 5.6% to the level of 118 rupiah per share. And next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar, open at the level of 14,241. Rupiah showing strengthening trend towards US dollar, and it was closed at the level of 14,258. And in summary, rupiah went down 0.24%. As of September 2021, Waskita Karya managed to record a new contract value of 12.01 trillion rupiah, or equivalent to 79.44% of the new contract value before the COVID-19 pandemic.
As of September 2021, Waskita Karya managed to record a new contract value of 12.01 trillion rupiah, or equivalent to 79.44% of the new contract value before the COVID-19 pandemic. As for the end of the third quarter of 2021, Waskita Karya has only realized 58.07% of the target value of new contracts this year, which is worth 20.68 trillion rupiah. Nevertheless, the management is optimistic that the company will be able to realize this target in the fourth quarter of 2021. One of the potential supports for the company to realize the target is liquidity in Waskita, which is currently better, as well as more scalable operational cost structure. Based on the financial report as of September 30, 2021, Waskita recorded revenue of 7.12 trillion rupiah. Realization was down 39.3% compared to the same period last year. The company recorded a net profit of 252.71 billion rupiah at the end of the third quarter of 2022, or reversed from a loss of 2.63 trillion rupiah at the end of the third quarter of 2020. IDX Channel reports.
Supported by steady sales of electric power, Cikarang Listrindo managed to record a positive performance in the first 9 months of 2021. According to Investor Relations and Corporate Finance Manager of Cikarang Listrindo, Corina, in terms of operational performance, the company's power plants scored an electricity availability factor of 98% per third quarter of 2021. Or up 4% compared to the same period in the previous year. This is supported by the maintenance activity of the steam power plant, which was only carried out in the fourth quarter of 2021, so that the availability of electricity is still quite adequate. The company also recorded a net capacity factor for 56% or grew 6% until the third quarter. In terms of transmission operational performance, the company managed to record electricity sales of 3,111 gigawatts per quarter 3, 2021, an increase of 12.5% year-on-year compared to the last quarter of 3rd, 2020. Most of the electricity sales were aimed at industrial estates, which grew by 17.9%. Krakatau Steel plans to increase its capital with right issue in 2022 by targeting fresh funds of 3 trillion rupiah. The funds raised from the corporate action will be used to reduce the company's debt burden. Krakatau Steel plans to increase its capital with right issue in 2022 by targeting fresh funds of 3 trillion rupiah. Krakatau Steel President Director Silmi Karim confirmed that next year the company will hold a right issue. He continued, the funds raised from the corporate action will be used to reduce the debt burden so that in the future the company's financial position can be better. Even by the end of this year, the company will cover debts of around $200 million or equivalent to 2.8 trillion rupiah and $500 million or 7.1 trillion rupiah next year. In addition to the rights issue, the state-owned issuer is also in the process of issuing mandatory convertible bonds of 800 billion rupiah. Next year, Krakatau Steel targets sales to grow by 26%. In terms of profitability, the company will continue to make improvements so that the results are better than this year. IDX Channel reports. And step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business and capital market channel. And viewers, to prevent the spread of COVID-19, always wear a mask and get vaccinated immediately. Masks have been shown to reduce the risk of transmission by 80%, while vaccines minimize the risk of death by 73%. So let's wear a mask and get vaccinated because masks and vaccines keep us healthy and happy. And I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.